So I thought I'd start by doing a quick rundown of my philosophy when it came to creating my sounds. As you can see here, I actually created them in this top section, and at the bottom here, I compiled them all into finished sounds to be transferred over to Fmod. For an example, if we have the sand footsteps here, these are the best example because I actually created these myself. So if we come in and I solo these, the sand footsteps here, as you can see, I've layered the sounds on top of each other. I've used two different EQs, one for the higher and one for the sort of more bottom end. This sound effect was created by me standing on a bag on a carpet. And then what I end up doing is transferring them all into here, where they get compiled and sent over to Fmod. The last one I would show you would be the rain, where I actually have used different versions of noise inside of Massive to create this sound. And then I've also looped it with some real sounds of rain so that you can really ground it in reality rather than it just sounded like manipulated noise. So if I show you that quickly. As you can hear, that's it's the sound of noise with the real sound of rain as well. Now inside of Fmod, I'm going to start by talking about my interactive music. As we can see here, I've used horizontal composition with nested events. This is so that I can use an ADSR to crossfade between the different sections. I've also used a parameter known as a continuous parameter for the music intensity, and this is triggering these different transition regions here to transition between the different intensities depending on how far up this percentage scrolling wheel we are. For example, here you can see the music intensity. If it was between 25 and 49, it will jump from the chilled out to the build up. So if I demonstrate that now. There we go, you can see the jump, and you can also see the fade out as the new one comes in. So that's how those are being triggered using the intensity. But if we go inside of one of these nested events, I've also used a number of probabilities on most of the drum sections and also the guitar section in here. This is just one of the examples. I've done this across most of them. And basically this is to stop it from becoming fatiguing over time and to keep movement if it was being played for long periods. So as you can see there, that drum did not activate. That's due to the probability on it. And again there as well. So that's going on in the background of that. And to show how that's working inside of Fmod, inside of Unity, sorry. Here are all of the trigger areas inside of Unity for the music. So we've got the village here. This is using a sphere collider as a trigger and a studio parameter trigger as it enters and as it exits to change the value of the music intensity correspondent with what style of music or what intensity I want in that area. Again, the same thing here, except with a capsule collider with inside the forest area. For my barrel sound effect, I've used a multi-instrument that has compiled sounds of explosions with rubble that I have modulated the volume and pitch of. I have a main explosion sound that grounds all the other sounds so that they're consistent, which I've also modulated the volume and pitch of. And I have a snapshot instrument that is ducking all other sounds when this is triggered so that the explosion really has a punch. I've also got a distance parameter that is lowering the high and mids of the sound and raising the low volume, and it's also creating a quite substantial reverb over the period of time. This is designed so that the explosion really feels very weighty and earthy, especially when you're far away from it. It's designed to create the sense of a faraway explosion, which I can demonstrate now. So this is the normal explosion. And this is the explosion from a distance. I'm now inside of Fmod just to demonstrate how that effect works. So here we are from a distance. You can hear all the sounds have gone, and you just have the low rumble of the explosion. But as you get closer, you get that real... You can hear all the clanging and the metal as it explodes. And you can also demonstrate the trigger of the music as well whilst we're here. As it triggers open, and there it is as it fades back to the normal. For the footstep sounds, I've used a labelled parameter to cycle through the different surfaces that could be triggered throughout the game, as you can see here. I have also got multi-instruments for each individual different surface, with up to 10 different footstep sounds within each one that have also been modulated for their volume and pitch, and some of them have also got some probability on them, for example with the small rocks falling and on the water wading as well. They also have probability on them, just to add more variety to the footsteps, as they are the most frequently heard throughout the course of the game. So if I show you some of the sounds now, you can hear there, that's the grass. And there you can hear the probability on the rocks falling as well, just to add a little bit more variety to the footstep sounds as you're going through. Within Unity itself, just to show you the footstep sounds and how they're triggered, they've been triggered using these colliders here. This is the sand I'll demonstrate it with. So we've got a capsule collider as a trigger, and we're using a global parameter trigger here as you enter and as you exit to change the value of the surface that is being triggered. So here, as you enter, it will trigger sand, and as you enter again, it will go back to grass. However, as you can see here, you're actually going into water, and for the water, I have used a mesh collider and used the same global parameters again as an exit and an enter, except this time triggering the water. So we're inside Unity now just to demonstrate the footsteps. As you can hear now, we are on the grass. As I walk in here, we are now on the sand footsteps. And as we go into the water, you can hear the water wading and the sound of the splashing of water. And then as you come out again, we're back into the sand and then back into the grass footsteps again. So I've already mentioned what the explosion snapshot is doing. If we can see here, it is ducking the music and the NPC group's audio so that the explosion can cut through the mix. I'm also going to go over a couple of other ones here. First of all, the occlusion snapshot. So the occlusion snapshot, if we look here, is on the house elf. And basically, when it is activated, the multi-band EQ will raise its frequency up to the maximum. If we look here when it's not active, it's rolled right down to about 250 hertz, which is create a muffled indoor sound to emulate what the effect would be like if you were hearing someone through a wall. Another snapshot that I have used here is an underwater snapshot. This is using a very similar technique whereby I am using EQs to lower the highs and mids, this time of the player character, and the underwater ambience, which actually consists of pretty much every element of the game. And it's also lowered the volume of those as well. And this is to create the sense of sort of engulfed space and sort of noise cancelling that would come with being underwater. And the last one that I wanted to show off here is the jump snapshot. This is actually ducking the talking of the player when he jumps. So if you think about when he jumps, he's not going to be speaking whilst he jumps. So any audio that is triggered within the game if he jumps during that point, it will cut out all that audio so that the jump audio can play. And I'll show you what those sound like within Unity now.
Anyone out there? Hello? Can I help you?
Thank you for watching my video presentation.